So recently, there's been a lot of talks about an upcoming recession in the U.S. Now, especially what indicated this was the Dow Stock Exchange falling about 800 points within about a week, and it alerted a lot of people that things in the economy may have finally caught up, and that this consistent growth that the U.S. has been experiencing over the couple of years, the last couple of years, is gonna eventually come to a halt, and I think we've hit that reality. But the thing about this is that I've seen articles that say that Canada is gonna avoid this recession, and I highly disagree with that perspective because I actually think Canada is gonna get hit harder than the U.S. By a lot, and there's actually multiple reasons for this. So anyone who's saying that Canada isn't getting hit is simply delusional. Let's start off with the fact that our household debt is at a record high, and it's actually higher than the US's household debt, or what it was back in 2008 before the recession hit. There's the low interest rates that we've had in Canada have gotten people to buy houses that they can afford at the time, but there's so many factors that can change within the future that can make them unaffordable. And for example, many Canadians, I think there's statistics that say they're living paycheck to paycheck, about 50%. So if there's any halt, let's say they get into a car accident or something along those lines happen to them, that they have to spend money that they aren't ready to spend, or simply do not have saved up because they're living pretty much just paycheck to paycheck, month to month. They're not thinking for the future. They're not saving up, which is the case for many Canadians. They're going to have trouble paying their mortgage, which is the fundamental part. It's the base behind everything that they do in their life. So that's one of the problems. Another factor to this situation is that coming to the recession, let's say the recession does hit, the household debts are so high, the Canadians are so reliant on debt that we could not even raise the interest rate past 1.75. The Bank of Canada could not raise it. It wanted to do a stress test, and it wanted to hit the middle ground of 2.25 to 2.5, I believe, or 2.75, something around there. Once it hit 1.75, there were reports of insolvencies coming in, and they couldn't even get it passed. That was a huge indicator towards how unstable this economy is and how reliant people are on debt. They've become so accustomed to just borrowing money and expecting that they have to pay the minimum to actually sustain this borrowed money. This cannot hold on forever, and this is just common knowledge because the lower the interest rates go, the longer they hold them at that level, the more insecure investors get, the more unstable the structure of the whole economy is, because it seems that we're operating on the basis of just borrowed money and not actual money that we create, like we actually develop and create through industries or just a healthy economy. So let's get back on topic. So the households, right? The households that are currently just skyrocketing in Toronto, Vancouver, not all of Canada, but they're a huge support. They play a huge role in supporting the economy. They have the potential to just drop completely, because once the recession hits, consumer spending goes down. The economy will have to lower interest rates again, of course, to spark spending. But then the dollar will devalue. So there's very little options that the Bank of Canada has to do. But regardless of that, let's say a recession does hit, many people could lose their jobs. They would be saving money, but expenses would stay the same within their mortgages. This will require them to make accommodations. But in a recession, the economy is it's not very active. It's actually trying to gain traction again, but that's the whole problem. So many people will struggle, and the household market is a fundamental part, as I said, of the economy in Canada overall. Many don't understand that, because the amount that goes into housing, there's not other industries that actually uphold the economy. It's mostly housing and natural resources, but natural resources are at a halt as it is. So that's why they've been funneling so much money into it, the government, because they've been doing everything to keep it afloat, to keep people borrowing money, because they've neglected developing any industries. There's nothing in the future that's being developed in Canada that's going to help them sustain itself. It's just been housing and speculative growth that it's been very irresponsible and kind of an amateurish way to run an economy. And I honestly don't know what the hell they were thinking, because honestly, the economy is a joke. Once this household scheme falls, the whole economy will fall. It's inevitable. There's going to be huge parts of struggle. Now, there's two outcomes that can come out of this. One, once the economy does fall in Canada, they can write off all the debt for everyone, because there's going to be unpayable. There's going to be people that lose their houses. Civil unrest will occur because of that, because the proportions of people losing their houses, do they want that? Or will they write off potentially billions, if not, I think it's probably trillions at this point easily, of debt? And who's going to pay for it? The government. And they'll just print more money to make up for it. So, of course, you don't know exactly what's going to be the solution to this situation, but the people that say Canada's going to avoid a recession are simply in delusion, because there's no economy to support this other than housing. And housing is not sustainable in a recession. A housing market that is run off debt. Now, to show this to you, I'm going to go through this article over here. And Canada's household leverage blows out. Disposable income to debt service ratio. So as we see in 2008, 2007, it reaches a very high peak, but then it gradually goes down, because again, 2008, actually Canada avoided it more or less, but this time around, they actually had decent interest rates at that time. I'm not sure exactly what the number was, but they had actually decent interest rates. We have had record low 0.5, I believe, 0.75 interest rates for a long time. And this is what caused the huge spike over here. People are just buying houses and driving the economy right here with like low interest rates. Then eventually we rise them a little bit, like 1%. We couldn't rise them more than that. And yeah, so that's pretty much the case. We've reached the same peak. It's 14.9, probably even higher by now of this video, because this was written on June 13th, and it's been 2 months since then. And here's Canada disposable income to debt service ratio. So non-mortgage debt, as you can see, there we go. It's climbing. In 2008, mid-2007, it reaches a very high peak, and then it drops as the recession hits. Now, we are going up that same trend again, and it doesn't seem it's going to stop. It's not looking to stop, because interest rates are still very low. And again, with more... This is non-mortgage debts, by the way. This was non-mortgage debt, so this is not something to do with households. This is just general debt, like people buying BMW, using cars, leasing cars that they can't afford, buying... There's actually an article I read recently about people people around the 20s, young millennials, who are literally living outside of their means, buying food, going on trips to sustain an Instagram-worthy lifestyle. That's the narcissisticity we have reached in our society. People are so eager to prove themselves, to prove something to others, for reasons that I guess they want to sustain their status within society. They want to maintain some relationship within the idea that they are relevant, or somehow they want to be relevant. I don't know, but it's clearly an insecurity that is just pathetic to me. And anyway, let's go on. And mortgage debts, right? So we're actually higher on mortgage debts than we've been in 2007, 2008. Mortgages have reached such a high peak compared to disposable income, that is. So what this means is that our mortgage debt is disproportionate to the actual income we can spend on it. So that means that the people earning the money, their debt is that much more disproportionate from the money they earn. So how is this possible? Some may say, right? Well, it's pretty much just low interest rates, right? The lower the interest rate, the easier it is to get money that you can't really pay back, right? So let's say someone's like, oh, I'll give you, ideally it's 0% interest rate, right? So someone's going to borrow $1,000, like, all right, 0% interest rate, pay it back whenever you can, right? So they're going to be like, all right, maybe I'll have a lucky day. Maybe I'll save on food for like a year or two, and then I'll pay back those couple grand I owe, right? Or in this case, it's 0.5, or it was 0.5. So it's minimum, right? So they're like, all right, whatever, it's going at a very slow rate, we'll just pay this percentage every month. It's going to be pretty easy overall. Now, given that there's not gonna be any insecurities or inconveniences given the future, like interest rates going up and stuff, if you're not on a fixed mortgage. So again, this is a huge trend, and the coming of this is that there is nothing in Canada that is currently helping the economy grow other than housing and the industries behind housing, which is construction, which consistently hires jobs, but even that has been losing jobs lately, and natural resources. There's nothing Canada produces, and the government hasn't. I don't understand what they've been doing. They've invested nothing into industries, nothing to get the economy growing, nothing to promote actual development for people to actually grow from within. There's just various problems that Canada is not ready for if a recession hits, because housing is very fragile and they needed other backup plans. Our interest rate could not even be higher than 1.75. So if there needs to be a fallback option, they're going to have to cut it to 0.5, which will devalue our dollar and bring it to bring debt levels even higher. And our dollar it's already like 75 cents US. Well, it's going to go lower than that if they lower interest rates. So it's a lose-lose situation. And I just wanted to put that out there because I've been hearing too many arguments, too many delusional people trying to say that Canada's going to avoid a recession when they pretty much should be in a worse situation from 2008, because in 2008 they avoided the recession more or less by not maintaining the responsibility that needed to be upheld during that time, which was to accept the situation and actually deleverage the interest rates and higher the and pretty much empty the debt that was accumulated within that time, but they didn't, and we are the situation we are now. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. I'm going to be making way more of these on different topics. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop a sub and a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.